Good morning, everyone. My name is Architect Ruchi Arora. I am working as an associate professor with Galgotias University. So I would be taking your vernacular architecture class. The name of the course is Vernacular Architecture. Course code is ARMO 2004. And the topic of the today's presentation is an introduction to the vernacular architecture. So what is vernacular architecture? So it is a category of architecture which is basically based on localized needs of people and the local construction material available there, and of course reflecting local tradition which is based on the local traditions of that particular area. So all forms of vernacular architecture are built to meet specific needs of people, accommodating values, economies, and the ways of life of the cultures that produce them. So these are the prerequisites of this particular module. First is you understanding the role of vernacular architecture. So why we are studying vernacular architecture. Secondly, learning information on construction techniques which can support vernacular architecture. What are the construction techniques available which can support this vernacular architecture? Without the construction techniques, without the construction material, it is not possible to sustain. So next is understanding the different zones of climate. So what are the different zones of climate available in India? Why those zones are important? Why we need to study those zones? So these are the prerequisites of. So these are the course objectives. First is understanding the basic definitions of vernacular architecture. So there are some definitions which are given by the famous architects or the different philosophers. So next is the difference between vernacular and modern architecture. So what is the basic difference between the vernacular and modern architectures? What are the different construction techniques which can be used in vernacular architecture and in modern architectures? Then the building typologies which are existing in the vernacular architectures. There are different types of buildings there. So vernacular architectures, as we have already discussed, that it is a category of architecture which is based on the localized needs and construction materials and reflecting local traditions. So these are the early form of dwellings and these are the early people. So basically man has been on earth for thousands of years, or you can say that hundred of thousands, then perhaps million of years. But the oldest building we know is of 12,000 years ago. So this is the popular image of the primitive people, is that they lived in the caves and relied on hunting for food. Basically they used to live a nomadic life. They used to roam around from one place to another. So this was often true, but they must have built shelters. They must be living in some shelters and even more permanent dwellings from which the first settlement grew. In colder land, early hunters built shelters which are made from the wooden frames, and you can say that the wooden members were used in the construction of that particular houses or shelters, and they used to cover animal skin or fur for covering their shelters. So where food were in scarcity, they used to rely upon the mammoth bones as a supporting members in their huts. So building a house had in their huts. So building a house had great advantage over living in a cave. There was no escape if confronted by a wild animal, and rocks often fell from roof, crushing the inhabitants. So now we are talking about the early dwellings. In this, we are talking about main frame. It is basically made up of large reeds which were tied together and converted into bundles and basically fixed firm to the ground. So then these were then bent over to join at their tips using strips of reeds twisted into the ropes. So basically after that the skeleton system is prepared, then covering material is used. The finished arches, these are the arches, were joined with horizontal strips of woods. So horizontal strips were used in order to cover these skeleton system. These supported the wall material made from sections of reed matting. Basically matting technique was used in this. The huts were made entirely from reeds picked from the marshes. They were gathered in bundles and tied together using rope made from twisted reeds. Next is etymology. Basically, the origin of the word vernacular is from the Latin vernaculus, meaning domestic, native or indigenous. This particular term is borrowed from the linguistics, where vernacular refers to the language used particular to a time, place or group of people. So in architecture, it refers to that type of architecture which is indigenous, or you can say that desi, to a specific time or place, not imported or copied from anywhere. So it is most often applied to residential building. So these are the early form of shelters. A man started living in huts which is made of the plant materials, reeds. Basically the wooden members are used as a skeleton materials, then the dried leaves are used to cover these house. So these are some of the definitions which were given by the renowned artists, philosophers and architects. So according to Ronald Brunskill, he has defined the ultimate in vernacular architecture as it is a building designed by the amateur without any training in design. The individual will have been guided by a series of conventions built up in his locality, paying little attention to what may be fashionable, or you can say that aesthetically pleasing. So the function of the building would be the dominant factor, and other things which are important, that is the aesthetic considerations, though present to some small degree, quite being minimal. So local materials would be used as a matter of course, other materials being chosen and imported quite exceptionally. So it is a kind of ecological memory of the place. It represents the capacity of the former inhabitants to adopt human needs to the environment specific. It is also a sort of 0 kilometer architecture, adapting construction technologies and the building typologies to the local condition, the availability of the construction material, climatic condition, social behavior and the economic opportunities. So it is a style that is designed based on local needs, availability of construction materials and reflecting local traditions. Some of the more definitions. The Encyclopedia of the Vernacular Architecture of the World defines vernacular architecture as comprising the dwellings, basically the residential units and all other buildings of the people related to their environmental context and available resources. That means the locally available material. They are customarily owner or community built utilizing traditional technologies. So all forms of vernacular architecture are built to meet specific needs of the people, accommodating the values, economies and the ways of cultures that produce them. So according to the Frank Lloyd Wright, he described vernacular architecture as the folk building growing in response to actual need of the people, fitted into environment by the people who knew no better than to fit them with native feeling, indigenous feeling. So suggesting that it is a primitive form of design lacking intelligent thought, but he also stated that it was for us better worth study than all the highly self-conscious academic attempts at the beautiful throughout the Europe. So according to the Paul Oliver in his in his book Dwellings, he stated that it is contended that popular architecture, which is designed by the professional architects, or you can say that the commercial builders for the popular use, doesn't come within the compass of the vernacular. Oliver basically offers the following simple definition of the vernacular architecture, that is basically the architecture of the people and by the people but not for the people. Vernacular architecture versus traditional. So basically vernacular architecture will refer to the ways regional artisans, craftsmen solve or devise architecture with local available material and the technology. So it also will refer to the architecture that is done for the domestic purposes, basically for the residential purposes, and some functional solutions in a region rather than to the creating of the monuments. So vernacular also refers to the dialect. Basically vernacular architecture can be contrasted against the traditional architectures. So this is the vernacular architecture, use of the locally available materials, use of the local available techniques, construction techniques. So these are the temple construction, which includes the particular type of skill set. So basically these vernacular architecture buildings can be contrasted against traditional architecture, which is characterized by the stylistic elements of design intentionally incorporated for the aesthetic purpose, which go beyond a building's functional requirements. So many nomadic people use materials common in the local environment to construct their temporary dwellings, and some of the other cultures reuse the materials, and they used to transport them from one place to another, and they also used to transport these materials when they move from one place to another. Notable in each case is the significant impact of the availability of the materials and the availability of the pack animals or others form of transport, you can say, and the ultimate form of the shelters. All the shelters are adapted to suit the local climate. So basically the form of the shelters depends upon the so many factors. First one is the climate, others the availability of the materials, and thirdly the it also depends upon the transport agency, and other dwelling units are the permanent one. So the type of structures and materials used for a dwelling vary depending upon how permanent shelter you required. So frequently moved nomadic structures will be lightweight and simple, and permanent will be less so. So when the people settle somewhere permanently, the architecture of their dwellings will change to reflect that. Material used become more heavier, more solid, and more durable. They may also become more complicated and more expensive, as the capital and the labor required to construct them is a one-time cost basically. Then the permanent dwellings often offer a greater degree of protection from the climate, from the wild animals. In some cases, however, more where dwellings are subjected to severe weather conditions such as frequent flooding or high winds, building may be deliberately designed to fail and be replaced rather than requiring the uneconomical or even impossible structures needed to withstand them. So there are different types of permanent dwellings. So what are the categories of these permanent dwellings? Kacha house, semi-pakka house, pakka house. So these are the example of the kacha houses. Then you can say that these are the semi-pakka houses. Then in the last category we come to the pakka houses. So what are the characteristics of a vernacular architecture? So basically developed by the people for the people without any technical knowledge, and it has a good climatic response and developed from the natural materials. It is a result of series of experiment over the years, you can say that, and it also involves the transmission of knowledge. Then the choice of the site depending upon the economic criteria, for example agriculture, animal husbandry, cultural criteria also. So vernacular architecture is evolved through different ages, and it also fulfill the basic needs of shelter. What are the basic needs of shelter? Protection from the animals, protection from the climatic conditions, and various spaces in these houses have multifunctional value. They can be used for the multifunctions. So small vernacular hamlets consist of 10 to 15 houses, which cater the needs of a small community basically, usually having same religion, caste, and similar economic standard. So it is also evolved by the use of local material, local construction techniques which are cost effective and having minimal transportation cost and embodied energy. So constructional techniques are adopted which are indigenous. So it also helps in maintaining the ecological balance of the place and the region. Basically we are using the material which is locally available there. So it is also evolved by the use of local building materials which are cost effective and having minimal transportation cost. In some of the previous earthquake, it has been seen that some of the vernacular buildings have better response as compared to the modern building. So it helps in maintaining the ecological balance, I have already told you. Then the ritual beliefs, traditions, and the cultural motifs are often depicted, painted on the facades of the houses. So culture plays an important role in shaping vernacular architecture. So the lifestyle of the occupants, their occupation, functions, various use of buildings influences the building forms in that particular region. So family size, cooking and eating habits, types and ways of social interaction, their gathering spaces, community size, and the role of the occupant in community, and other cultural consideration affects the layout of the house, layout of the dwelling unit, sizes of the dwellings in the vernacular architecture. And of course, the appearance or aesthetic of vernacular buildings is guided by the local customs, you can say that traditions, religions, and the beliefs of the people. Next important factor which influences the vernacular architecture is the type of settlement. So the type of vernacular style developed depends upon the type of human settlements, whether the tradition people living in a region are nomadic or the agricultural based, or they used to live in the permanent buildings. So nomadic people having animal husbandry as their major occupation and moves from one place to another in search of fodder and food. These people majorly require shelter for a small duration. So these people basically develop vernacular buildings to fulfill the needs of only shelter and for which is for the small durations with the use of the locally available knowledge and materials. So whereas in agricultural based or permanent settlements, the type of structure required is permanent, as a major occupation of the people is agriculture, so they can they are stick to one place and they need shelter throughout the year. So another important factor which affects the vernacular architecture is the advent of the new materials, basically the arrival of the new materials. So with the intervention of the contemporary materials and the construction techniques in different regions of the country, the use of vernacular architectural styles, use of vernacular material is reduced to some extent, or you can say that reduced to great extent. Though vernacular buildings have better climatic response, better protection from the disasters, but people are attracted by the strength of the materials and the aesthetic characteristics of the contemporary materials. So another important factor is the construction techniques. So due to the development of new construction techniques, construction of different building components becomes fast and easy. Basically prefabrication came into existence, prefabricated material came into existence, whereas the adoption of vernacular techniques results in the more time consumption for construction of a even smaller building elements. So construction techniques plays important role in affecting the vernacular architecture. Another important aspect is the financial status or economy of the people, like standard of the people. So change in the financial standard of the people results in the change in the requirements of the residential space. For example, if you look at the house of the people living in the slum, is different from the people living in a residential colony. So it basically depends upon the financial status of the people who are residing in that particular area. So this is not fulfilled by the traditional methods. With increasing financial status of the the type of materials to be used in buildings, type of finishes, type of furnishing materials, furnitures desired are also changes to a greater extent. So what is the typical process of design and constructing a vernacular house? So basically the society knows the building type and even how to build them. Particular skill set is available in the society, skilled labor is available in the society. So the peasant owner is still very much participating in the design process, not merely a consumer. So when a mason, or you can say that the tradesman, built a house for a peasant farmer, they both know the type in question, the form and model, and even the materials, what type of material have to be used in the construction of the house. But remains to be determined are the specifics like family requirement, what is the family size, proportions of the site, then what is the microclimate of that particular area. So both the tradesmen and peasant agrees on what there is, in fact a model which is adjusted and adopted as one proceeds in the process of the construction. Then as the site visit is conducted by the mason, the ground site is sloped gently or the site is flat, or plain. So mason has it look at the trees, the ground and its gradient, what is the slope available on that particular site, and what is the environment, or you can say that what is the context around the building. So thereafter mason placed all the distances and put wooden pegs in ground for taking the all the measurements which needs should trees should be cut or uprooted, and which should be retained from one place to another. Then the mason moves his wooden pegs for a few feet to same protect some trees. So thank you for listening, students. So these are some questions for the assignments. Question 1 is, what is vernacular architecture? Next question is, write different definitions given by the renowned architects. And third is you have to list down the comparison between the vernacular versus the modern architecture. And last question is, define nomadic and permanent dwellings. So these are the references of this particular lecture. You can refer in order to fetch some more information about this topic. So thank you so much, students, for listening.